Talking of Testament today, simply Google best metal drummers and you see this man's beautifully bearded face. Gene Hoglan has bashed and thrashed his way into hearts and history books, which is why I thank you extensively, Gene, for joining me today.
Very cool, Max. Well, thank you very much. What a nice introduction. That's really cool, man. Thank you.
It's a nice bit of an icebreaker. As I said, Gene, simply Googling best metal drummers brings you up as an example right before Neil Peart, who I know was an enormous influence on you.
What?
Have you
That is crazy. I had no idea.
Have you reached a stage in your life now where you think you've made your younger self proud and you feel satisfied with your level of skill, or are you still striving to be bigger and better with every show?
I would say the latter on that. I'm never satisfied. Well, I'm excited, but my whole metal life, as a player, my whole drumming life revolves around being the best I can be every night, and making people's eyes pop out of their head and stuff like that. That's why it's really fun when I get to play some of the more challenging songs with any band that I'm in, and just I'm always striving to be the best drummer that I can be. And as I'm getting up there in years, I'm still excited to be top of the game all the time. That's my whole thing. So I'm 52 now, and I have every reason to want to play serious, brutal, thrashing drums and deep into my 70s. So I'm creating the kind of lifestyle and environment for myself that will enable me to do so. I'll be a ripped and cut 70-year-old dude just blistering thrash metal drums. So that's my intent with the rest of my life. So I'm excited.
I reckon the only way you can get better at this point is if you attach a third foot to you. Get a third kick in there.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, man, there's one thing I do notice is that, if I have any kind of break, my chops go away a lot sooner than they used to. So the thing that I do now when I'm at home and there's I'm not, preparing for gigs or anything, I'll still go down to the rehearsal space and I'll bust out the last Death Clock set that we played. And I'll go through a Death Clock set by myself. Just because there's so much hauling double bass and all that, and it's really good cardio. You really sweat. You drop a lot of pounds rehearsing Death Clock on a regular basis. So that's what I do. I go down and jam some Death Clock and keep my chops.
Well, that's what your body's doing, but what about your mind? When you're in a performance, are you in the groove of the song, or are you more kind of blank and meditative?
I wouldn't say it is blank, but it is definitely meditative. I think I get into this kind of Zen zone where I know the tunes, and frequently there are times when your monitor system is not that happening, you can't hear your guys. That's okay. I'll play the entire set in my head, and I'm the conductor of this train. So guys, you get with me on this stuff. And I know the tunes in my head backwards and forwards, like the Death Clock stuff. When I'm rehearsing by myself, all I'm rehearsing to is a click track. That's it. There's no tracks going on, but I'm playing the tunes. I know the songs, and so when it comes like a Testament set or a Death to All set or Dark Angel, I have the songs memorized, and I'm back there singing the riffs to myself, just to keep myself knowing where I'm at. But if I don't have, say, Eric Peterson or Alex Skolnick or Jim Durkin or Eric Meyer or any of my guitarists, if I don't have a really good mix, that's okay. I know what I'm doing, so everybody follow me, and we'll race to the end of the song, and whoever gets there first wins.
That's super impressive, man. People have argued, not just because of your skill, but that Testament and Exodus should be honorary Big Four members. You should be up there with Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, and Metallica. How do you feel about these claims and the legacy that Testament will inevitably leave behind in thrash folklore?
Well, I do know that, really the thing that Testament tries to do with every record is just put out a kick-ass, ball-crushing record for their fans. And wherever Testament ends up in the Big 4, Big 6, Big 10, Big whatever you want to call it. Testament's going to be right up there. And, they still try to bring real quality music, as does Exodus, as does Overkill and Death Angel and all the other, like, big bands that are, creators still put out kick-ass records. If we're looking at the, Destruction as well, if you're looking at the Teutonic 4, all of these bands that have been around for quite some time. I know everybody's still trying to bring it, I know Gary Holt is stoked about getting in the studio and writing the most ripping Exodus album possible, and that's what I'm trying to do with the next Dark Angel record that we're working on, and Testament. Our new album's coming out in a couple of months or so, and it's super killer. I know Testament fans are going to be stoked, and they're going to dig it.
Yeah, well, actually, a Testament track was just released today. A single got put up on Spotify.
That's a pretty solid song from the album. It's pretty aggressive and pretty angry sounding. So that's what Testament wants to do, is put out good quality metal for their fans and for themselves. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Down here in Sydney, we do have an extremely supportive metal scene, but many of the young great bands like Hellions, who you'll be performing alongside for Download, aren't really, well, they're not thrash, and I haven't seen many new thrash bands popping up around here, at least. So I was wondering if there's any bands you follow, or do you think the golden days of thrash are dying with your line of bands?
No, but I do like where thrash is evolving for a lot of the younger bands. Like, say you take a band like Revocation from here in the States. They are pretty aggressive thrash-based sound, and they're killer. And they have their technical moments, and they delve into a little death metal kind of action as well. But when they play some thrash kind of sounding stuff, it's killer. It's catchy. It's heavy. It's kick-ass. So Revocation is killer. There's a band in Australia that Dark Angel played with, a band called Harlan, and I believe they're from Melbourne, perhaps. I could be wrong, but that's a young band, and my guitarist Jim Durkin was so impressed, he went and bought their CD at the merch booth. That was cool. So I try to keep my ears and my mind open to a lot of the younger bands. Bands like Alien Weaponry. I like them. I think they're cool. They're New Zealand bands. So, there's always a bunch of kick-ass, for me, as long as your heart is in it, you're showing that, hey, this is the kind of music I like to play. I grew up listening to it, kind of thing. If you're paying a homage to it, I'm all for it, and especially if, nobody's gonna start a thrash band to get rich. I want to be on the radio for that sort of thing. So these younger bands that like all the heavy stuff, they want to play the heavy stuff. I more power to them, and I hope everybody gets to have a really good long career and be able to do their thing, the thing that they want to do for years and years to come. So I back it.
You kind of touched on my next question, which I don't know if you're familiar with the term pizza thrash.
Pizza thrash.
Have you heard that being thrown around?
No, but sounds pretty fun.
Well,
two good things that definitely go together.
Well, those are my thoughts, but a lot of metal critics slander some of the newer bands like Municipal Waste and Lich King for making metal that banks off 80s nostalgia and shallow themes and doesn't really take itself all too seriously. But, I mean, we did kind of just discuss fun and simple and how it mixes with music and art. But I'm curious to see...
There's nothing wrong with that,
No, I agree. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on if bands need to hold themselves to a certain groundbreaking level.
Well, if you are playing an 80s homage to thrash, like the Municipal Waste and the Toxic Holocaust and bands like that, bands like Havoc and things like that, I think these guys are doing it because they love it and they love the music and they want to be a part of that style of music. So I've always tried to be a very inclusive, metal fan, metal player. So, if there's somebody that wants to come along and rewrite the rule book, I'm all for it, because I'm always trying to do that myself. So if any one of these younger bands comes out and has this mind-boggling approach of awesomeness, then kick ass. And if they don't, and if they only have hey, we just want to sound like an 80s thrash band, nothing wrong with that either. You're playing stuff that you like to hear and you want to be a part of that kind of scene. That's all cool too.
Yeah, you're a very positive person, and I'm liking that. I'm liking this talk. You and the boys from Testament are going to be down in Sydney soon for Download. Hope you've packed some sunscreen.
That's right.
On Saturday, 21st of March, you'll be sharing Parramatta Park with bands like Deftones, Jimmy Eat World, Carcass, and headliners My Chemical Romance. There's been a lot of discussion regarding that lineup. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, a couple of the names that you were saying, Jimmy Eat World, they're kind of an alternative pop band, right?
Yeah.
And Carcass, we love Carcass, so that's always good. I mean, I think Carcass is, more deadly as they move along with their career. They're still putting out great material, so that's always cool, and they're good friends, so it's always fun to meet up with a bunch of pals and stuff. And who are some of the other bands you mentioned?
Well, the headliners are My Chemical Romance, and there's been a little bit of controversy surrounding them.
Oh, Lord Almighty.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Boy, I got to admit, that's not my scene. I don't know their music at all, and I'm well familiar with what they do. But hey, they're going to have a whole lot of their fans, so that's cool. And Testament will have our pocket of fans, so there you go too. So. And
what are Testament going to bring to the big show?
Ball-crushing metal, kick-ass shows. I would imagine, we're gonna start playing some. I know we in this European run that we're starting next week. That's going to be with Exodus and Death Angel. We're dropping, I would imagine, the same track that just dropped, Night of the Witch. We're gonna be playing that one over in Europe. So I'd imagine we're going to play that one, and perhaps I'm sure there's going to be a second single out as well by the time we're in Australia. So I would imagine you're going to get 2 New Testament songs, and one thing that I like about what we are doing for this European run is we're going with a lot of deeper cuts. We're playing songs off Demonic. We're playing some songs off The Gathering that you don't hear. We're playing songs that we've never played live ever. So songs off Dark Roots and things like that. So we're pretty excited about that. But, I know that we go to Europe quite a bit. So our old set list that was just packed with classics, I know they're a little more familiar with Testament's live gigs. But, Jesus, last time Testament was in Australia was that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. So I'm not sure if we're going to do the super deep cut sets over down in Australia, but I'm up for anything. I'm sure we're going to have some classics in there too, and everybody's going to be really happy. Testament put on a pretty decent show, and you got one of the best vocalists in metal.
You ever going to sell Deathlock banana stickers at the merch stand?
Oh, that's fun. We should, man. God, totally, man. People buy that stuff up like crazy.
I know a couple of people who would.
Deathlock has a lot of crazy merch.
So my last official question. You're playing in Melbourne on the 20th, Sydney on the 21st, and Brisbane on the 22nd. I know that everyone in Australia is so excited for you and Testament to come along. Are you excited for Australia?
Absolutely. I personally always am, and I know Testament is because they love playing Australia. We all love playing Australia. Like I've said it in many Australian interviews. The Australian fans are obviously, you guys are some of the coolest people in the world, and Australian metal fans are also really sharp fans. And the one thing I've always dug about Australia is the fact that they love it. You guys love it really heavy, extreme metal is thumbs up in Australia as opposed to like a place like say Germany. They like the power metal and the more melodic side of things, and so Australia is like fuck you, dicks, play heavier. You know, cool. I'm down with that. That's always cool. So, yeah, we're very excited to be coming, and you know, we hope we get to meet a whole lot of cool folks, and it's, you know, we're going to bring some serious Testament thrash to everybody, and so that's going to be pretty cool. Absolutely.
Oh, Jane, I'm blushing on behalf of all Australia here.
Oh, that's fun.
All right, well, that's all I had for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It really means a lot.
Oh, well, I appreciate your patience, Max. Thanks for the call back.
All good. Enjoy the rest of your night.